Pleased to announce that stepping into our keynote speaker role is Brenda Dietzman, nationally recognized leader in resilience, leadership, personal development. With her powerful insights and dynamic style, we'll know you have an engaging, impactful session. Colonel Dietzman brings over 28 years of distinguished service in law enforcement and corrections, having most recently served as the undersheriff of Shedwood County Sheriff's Office in Kansas, where she oversaw 2 facilities, more than 1,400 inmates, 300 employees, and a $33 million budget. Since retiring, she co-founded Wayfinder Consulting, LLC, where she focuses on delivering evidence-based training and inspiring presentations on leadership, resilience, and organizational growth. If you have not attended one of Brenda's classes or attended any of her online classes, I highly encourage you to do so. She's amazing. Please join us in giving Brenda Dietzman a Texas-sized welcome to the stage.
I'm going to let y'all see my better side. How's that? Good morning, everybody. Last night, when Connie called me, I'd had a drink or two. And that Brenda said, well, this is going to be fun. Sure, I'll do it. Then sober Brenda woke up this morning and went, what? So it is really a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry that Bernie is not. I've had the privilege of hearing him speak before. I hope he is okay. I hope his family is okay. And whatever the emergency was, I hope that I hope everything turns out for him okay. So sending him good vibes this morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Good. This makes me happy. All right. So today what I want to do is I want to take you on a journey. It's my journey, but I think a lot of you will be able to relate to it. Okay? I started off on the law enforcement side, and I was getting ready to retire. The sheriff called me up, said, let's go to lunch. I said, oh, this is not going to be good, right? Where are my sheriffs in the room? You always take us to lunch when you got good news for us, right? So we go to lunch, and we sit down there, and he was like, how would you like to be my undersheriff in charge of jail operations? And I said, well, that sounds like fun. Absolutely, let's do this thing. Let me tell you something. 28 and a half years in law enforcement and corrections, and here's what I can tell you. Those 3.5 years in the jail were absolutely the most rewarding, but they were also the hardest of my career. I always had an appreciation that corrections was an incredibly hard job, but then I just found out how hard it actually was. In fact, I go out and I speak to a lot of different people, and what I found is that dispatch and corrections, I think personally, my humble opinion, probably the hardest jobs out there in the first responder world. So first of all, thank you for the work that you do. And thanks for getting me around everywhere I needed to go this week. I appreciate that. But it's a tough job. It's a tough job. And what I want to do this morning is I kind of want to take you on this journey of this personal growth and how that made me, hopefully, a better leader. And I'm hoping that you can kind of do a little self-reflection today, okay? And maybe that will help you not only become a more engaged person, but also a better leader. And here is the important part. Ready? A better example for the people in our lives. And not just at work, but at home and at church and everywhere else. Okay? So let's take this journey together. So there I was sitting at my desk at home one weekend. I was the undersheriff. I was all stressed out. I was working too hard, too much, just like my people. And I was pretty stressed out, but I still believe in personal growth. So I took the VIA Strength Finders test. Okay. How many people have ever taken that before? Okay. Yeah, it's a good test to take. And it's not one of those Facebook tests, right? It's like legit. Y'all awake this morning? Okay, just checking. Okay. Yeah. And I was like, what they do is they take these 24 characteristics and they say, all right, here's your top 5, here's your middle 14, here's your bottom 5. And take a look at that. I want everybody to take a look at that. And I want you to pick out one word. I want you to pick out the word that if you could have everybody in your life describe you, they would describe you that way. Okay? Everybody got your word? On the count of 3, I want you to call it out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, no wrong answers here. And they're all good, right? They're all good. Well, if you know me, you might already know what my word is. Okay? It's zest. Okay? That feeling, that excitement, being engaged. I love that word. Man, it wakes me up. So I took the test. I got the results back, right? I saw the top 5. Top 5, I was like, not there. What the heck? There must be something wrong with the test. Then I got the middle 14. And it still wasn't there. I was like, oh, I know something's messed up in the software now, right? Then I got the last 5, and there it was. And I was like, oh, I'm not living an authentic life. Because if this is how I want to be known, but yet it comes up in the bottom 5, there's a problem with that. Okay? So I went about making some changes in my life. And I came across this idea of living a great story. I want you to just stop for a minute. I want you to feel this. What does it mean for you to live a great story? What does it mean for you to live a great story? And are you doing it? And that's the journey I want to take you on today, okay? So, my why. Here is my why. I have seen throughout my career people retire from being first responders. And some of them, happy, healthy, they're good, they're solid. And then I've seen others, not so good. And that breaks my heart because this job is full of purpose and meaning. Right? I watch these young kids come into the interview panels and they're like, I want to make the world a better place. And that's why I want this job. And then in 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? They're drunk. They got problems. They're cynical. I'm like, what are we doing to the best of the best? The best of the best in our communities. So for myself and for everybody else, I started on this journey of trying to figure out how to fix that so we wouldn't have that problem. I want you to retire, and I want the people in your care to retire or leave this profession happier and healthier than when they got into it. And you know what? I'm a living example of that. Now, in all honesty, my joints hurt a little bit more than when I was in my 20s. Anybody relate to that? Yeah. But we can be happier and healthier. And that is what I want for everybody. Okay? Ready to go on this journey? Let's do this. I want you to think about this. What does your life look like? What does your average day look like? How about your average week? Average month? Average year? What does your life look like? What do you do? Do you get up in the morning, have some coffee, go to work, come home, do something with the kids, make meals, binge Netflix, and then get ready to go to bed, and then start doom scrolling? Anybody do that? You want to know why? Because you haven't spent any time, this is what research tells us, you have not spent any time on yourself during the day, learning, growing, making yourself better, because you've been giving and giving and giving, and you get to bedtime, and you turn into a 2-year-old. Right? And you're like, I want to spend some time on me. You're not going to go exercise. You're not going to make yourself a healthy meal. What are you going to do? You're going to pick up your best friend, start doing this. Okay? I want you to wake up. I want you to wake up and intentionally live your life. How many of you have ever driven home? Nobody? Okay. All right. I'm just checking. I'm just checking here. All right. How many of you have ever, you're waiting for the next thing, I get it, right? How many of you have ever driven home and you get home and you're like, did I kill anybody? Right? Because you have no idea how you got home. We've all done that, right? And it's because we create shortcuts in our head. You have driven home so many times, you don't even have to pay attention anymore. You can just drive home. You can think about why the boss looked at you that way today, what the kids, what the kids did at school today, what you're going to have for dinner tonight, all of these things. We can just, right, float through that drive home. And that's a little thing called shortcuts in the back of our heads, because if we had to think about every single thing that we do, we would be frozen. So we create shortcuts, just make things automatic. And the problem is that is what we do. We have created a rinse and repeat life. You ever read the back of a shampoo bottle? Rinse and repeat. Right? Just rinse and repeat. We do that every day. We get up, we have our coffee, we go to work, we come home, we do something with the kids, we make meal, binge Netflix and doom scroll. And then we wake up and do the exact same thing again. And our brain goes to sleep, because just like when we're driving home, right, we don't pay attention to what's going on. I want you to wake your brain up. So, mood lighting, I like this. So, your life to what end? Your life to what end? I love that statement. It's kind of inspiring and kind of dark all at the same time. Okay? Your life to what end? When you get to the end of your career, when you get to the end of your life, what are people going to say? How are you going to feel about your life? I want you to smile. I want you to be able to smile, pat yourself on the back, and go on. So I want you to live your life intentionally, really living intentionally. Moving through your life, not just floating through it, but actually moving through your life. That is what I want for you. And it's important because you know what? They're watching. Your kids are watching. I don't want your kids to look at you and go, well, I guess when I grow up, I'm going to get up in the morning, drink my coffee, go to work, come home, and just rinse and repeat. I want it to be more than that. I want it to be more than that. I want them to be inspired by your life so they actually get the very most they can out of their lives. And your employees are watching too. They come in and they see the boss killing themselves, or the leaders, both informal and formal within your organizations, killing themselves. And you know what? That's what they think their life should be like too. And you're watching. You're watching yourself. I want you to be inspired by your life. How many people are inspired by their lives right now? Good. That makes my soul happy. Okay? So I want us to navigate our journey. I want us to navigate. Now, that word is very intentional. It's not floating through life, it's navigating it, meaning you are setting your course and then you are following it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build some resources. Ready? Okay. Here's some internal and external resources for you. Internal, things that are internal to me, my faith, my hope, my optimism. Things that are external to me, my friends, my family, my pets, right? My therapist, my finances. That's absolutely a resource. My church. Right? I want you to take a look up there and I want you to think about, what resources do you have? And then what do you want? Because you can actually build these things. We can control, for the most part, our internal and external resources. We can't control the external threats, and that's why we absolutely love our jobs, because when we go to our jobs, we do not know what's going to happen. And that's exciting, right? I had over 800 toilets in my facility. I never knew how many of them, because it wasn't a matter of if, it was when. Like, we're going to overflow that day. Anybody with me? Yeah. I love that job, right? So I can control building internal and external resources, but I can't control those external threats. I don't know what's going to happen today. And that kind of wakes you up just in and of itself, right? So here's what I know about those resources. You can plan to actually build them, but they just don't make the bad times better. They also make the good times a lot better. I travel a lot for work, and most of the time I'm by myself. And I go out and I see some incredible things. You're going to see that here in a bit. And I get to have fun, but you know what? Having somebody there with me, a lot more fun because you get to share it. You get to share it with them. Okay? So these things make the good times better and the bad times not so bad. So I'm going to take you through how to build some resources. You ready? Those people who influence you, those people that are close to you, that you spend a lot of time with, do they feed your soul? Are they optimistic? Do they have a growth mindset? Do they challenge you? Do they make you better? Here's what Jim Rome says about this. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Corrections, folks? Who do you spend the most time with? The happy, healthy? Oh, right? I got hope for you. You ready? I got some hope for you. Here's what I say instead. You're the sum of the 5 people you allow to feed your soul. I want you to just stop and I want you to think about this. Who are the 5 people who feed your soul? Who build you up, who make you better, who have hard conversations with you, and who love you? Here's what I want you to do. Here's put this on the to-do list. You ready? I want you to send a text to them later. I want you to thank one of them, or all 5, for being there for you. Okay? Find people, find your tribe, find those people in your life who feed your soul and spend time with them. Sleep. How many people get enough sleep in here? Yeah. There's usually a few sick people, right? Yeah. Boo, boo. Let's boo them. No, that's a good thing. Sleep is very important. I'm gonna motivate you to get some more sleep right now. Okay? Sleep deficiency, stress on our bodies. We all get this. Lack of sleep raises inflammation levels. What does that do to us? All the good stuff, right? Nastiness, heart disease, autoimmune diseases, cancer. We know this. We know this. Memory consolidation occurs during sleep. When we get stage 3, 4 sleep, that deep sleep, okay, that's when our memories get stored. And if we're not getting the right amount of sleep and good quality sleep, guess what happens? Guess what happens? Those memories get stored incorrectly. They get scattered. We can't recall them the right way. And what else happens? Friends over at the Air Force did a study one time and it said this, right? People who don't get enough sleep after trauma or after traumatic events have a higher chance of developing PTSD. Research tells us that for after a traumatic event, for the next 5 nights, you should get a good quality night's sleep to make sure that those things are stored correctly. So pretty much every single night that you live, you should probably get a good night's sleep. The average American goes through about 5 to 7 traumas in their lifetime. How many people in here have been traumatized already 5 or 7 times already today? Yeah. Okay. Just asking for a friend. Good chaplain's up here. She might be able to help you. I know that there's some mental health professionals out here too. Appetite hormones suppressed with lack of sleep or too much sleep. Our cells produce protein. This is what builds us up. This is what rebuilds our bodies. And then this last one, this one really hits home for me. If we don't get enough sleep, the beta amyloid, the tau in our brains starts to cluster. And that, they think, can start to lead to the development of dementia. If you know what that is, if you know what beta amyloid is, you probably have somebody in your life who has dementia. And I am so sorry for that. Okay? The blood-brain barrier, very thick, very hard to get in. Okay? very hard to get things out. The only time that the brain flushes toxins is during stage 3, 4 sleep. So if you're not getting enough sleep, those things are starting to cluster in your brain. Have I motivated anybody to get some more sleep? Okay. You got to get curious. First of all, you've got to get curious about how to be healthier, because you just can't have this intention of being healthier. You've got to understand how to be healthier. So we're building resources here. How do you do that? How do you get better sleep? Because everybody always asks me this, right? Limit alcohol. Okay. I'm looking at you down here laughing. Dark, cool room. We want to go into the hibernation state. But take a hot shower or bath right before you go to bed, because that cools your core down and gets more blood flowing out to your limbs, which cools your core down, puts you into the hibernation state. It says sleep cycle. Please do not alter it by more than 1 hour a day. It sets your circadian rhythm, helps you get better sleep. Don't forget why it's important to get better sleep. Monitor naps. I tell people this all the time. You shouldn't nap like 8 hours before you go to sleep. Okay? So most of that means that you are probably going to have to nap at work, and totally acceptable in my book. Everybody with me? Okay, just check. Relaxation methods. You can do breathing. We call it tactical breathing in Sedgwick County. Basically what it is that you breathe in for a shorter time than what you breathe out. If you do this 2 to 3 minutes before you go to bed, you will sleep better, because you'll get into the rest and digest portion of your autonomic nervous system. So everybody just take a deep breath in and then slowly let it out. Yeah. Just do that about 2 to 3 minutes before you go to bed. You're going to get better sleep, okay? All right. Oh, and limit your blue light. What does blue light do? It shuts down melatonin production. And melatonin is what does what? Puts you to sleep. Okay? So I made you curious about why sleep is important, but then I told you how to do it. And that's what you got to get curious about. So how do we build social and mental and emotional resources? This is a neat way. How many people have heard of pebbling? Anybody? I know it sounds kind of weird, but this is what it is. Right? It comes from the penguin world, which I love. Right? They make their nests out of rocks. And so what happens is that the male penguins find a really pretty rock. Does that sound familiar? Right? And they put it on their feet, and they waddle up to the prettiest female penguin that they can find, and go, hi, hi. And if the female is impressed, they get together. If she's not, she's like, I'm going to wait for something a little bit better, right? She goes on, waits for something a little bit better, I guess. That's pebbling. What does pebbling mean in our lives? It means, how many of you have that friend or friends that just sends you text every once in a while? Right? Hey, thinking about you, good morning. You got to watch this funny TikTok, right? Yes, you got to read this funny meme. Y'all have that? I hope so. I hope so. I have a friend like that. She has the audacity to live in a different state than what I do. She says that I have the audacity to live in a different state than what she does, but whatever. I'm going to blame her because I got the microphone. Okay? And every morning, every day in my life, and we're going to talk about this here in a minute, I want to feel awe, and I want to be curious about something. How many of you have identified some emotions that you want to feel every single day of your life? And then put yourself in a position to do that. I want to feel awe and curiosity. Okay? So every day I go out and I go for a walk. I've lived in the same neighborhood for about 20 plus years. And I look for something that makes me go, wow, every single day. I've trained for 10Ks on that road. I've walked it thousands and run it thousands and thousands of miles. But every day I still try to find something that wakes my brain up. It makes me live my life intentionally. So one day I was out for a walk, and I saw this scene. Right, this is the gravel road that I live on. And the sun was just coming up, and I was like, oh my goodness sakes, look at that. The little pieces of gravel, right, cast shadows. And I was like, they're like mini mountains. How fun is this? Right? So I took a picture, right? And I sent my friend a text. This is what I said. I said, have you ever looked at how gravel casts shadows? They're like mini mountains. Right? And then, being the good friend that she is, she sends this text message back to me. I'm that kind of person, right? I can get high naturally, okay? That connection, right? That laugh, and that attention is so important to our good health and well-being, right? That is what I want for you. Find those people who feed your soul. Find those people who feed your soul and bring you gummies, I guess. I don't know. Thinking about spiritual, right? Spiritual can be religious or not, but one of the things that I did for myself about 20 years ago is I came up with a personal mission statement. We have organizational mission statements because our policy and procedures, even though they're absolutely huge, do not cover every single thing that we have to make decisions on. So if you are in a situation at work and you have to make a decision and there's no rule for it, you go back and you follow your policy. You follow your organizational mission statement, right? The same can be done for you as a human being. What is your mission in life, and have you defined it? Because let me tell you something, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. If you don't know where you're going, you are never going to get there. This personal mission statement is the ideal Brenda Dietzman. Do I ever reach it? Nope. I got people here, they'll tell you that I used to work with, right? They'll tell you I don't get there, but I strive for this every single day. And every morning when I get up, I say this to myself, right? I will move through life making mindful decisions that allows me to live a life well lived, striving to understand the whys while creating a deeper understanding for and respect for myself first. Leaders, listen to this. For others and for this world, and to make what is within my circle of influence a better place because of my presence. Dr. Dolly Cho has this thing, we think of people either as good or bad people. And every single person in this room is a good person, right? But she goes, if you just think of yourself as a good or a bad person, bad people can only get better and good people can only get worse. What we need to do is we need to think of ourselves as goodish people, because then we can get better. Okay? Do you know where you're going in life? Do you know what you want to get out of this life? All right, we built some resources. Now, navigating our journey, we're going to cope with and grow through adversity, because we've got to do that, because we're going to see it. Here's the thing. I am the youngest of 5 kids, my brothers and sisters. All 4 of them were born within 6 years of each other. Then 9 years later, I show up. Okay? Let me ask you a question. When bad things happen in my family, who do they call? Me, right? Because I've been there, done that, I've gone through it. They know I can handle it. They know I can think through the problem, even if it's an emotional one. And here's what I know about all of you. Right? Everybody calls you too. The problem with that is that we have a tendency to think of ourselves as the rock, and we don't use our resources. We don't use our coping techniques. And that's too bad, because this is what makes us healthy. We think we're strong enough to be able to get through it, and yes, we are, but okay, we have to use these coping techniques. Look up here. What do you use intentionally? Okay. Use those things. Use those things. I also want to talk about post-traumatic growth. Pre-traumatic growth is building those resources that I talked about. Post-traumatic growth is what? Is finding meaning or purpose or creating positive change in yourself as a result of being involved in a difficult or traumatic experience. Sometimes that is really hard to do. There are some things that we go through, it's like, wow. But really searching for that, really searching for those things. I want you to stop and I want you to, if you're doing something else, I want you to stop and I want you to look at this statement right now and I want you to feel it, every single bit of it. In order to love who you are, you cannot hate the experiences that shaped you. Feel that. In order to love who you are, you cannot hate the experiences that shaped you. Because you know what? Those traumatic things that you've seen, the things that you have gone through, they have turned you into the most incredible human beings on the planet. Strong, resilient, and the ones that everybody else looks to when things go bad. And hopefully, the person who walks into the room and lights the room up too. Okay? You can hate that those things happen to you, absolutely. Right? But don't discount how incredible they made you. Research tells us this: to intentionally move through trauma and experience post-traumatic growth, you got to find growth in one or more of these 5 areas. I'm not going to read these to you. Just look through those. Okay? How can you personally grow through trauma? And how are you going to do that? Moving through these 5 steps. And then, as a leader within your organization, either formal or informal, I don't really care. How are you going to help your people do that? Because we want to have them happier and healthier when they leave here, right? When they leave our care? Absolutely. Absolutely. So helping them do this will help them avoid that diagnosis of PTSD or all of the other things that can happen because of the trauma and the adversity that all of us see every single day. Time doesn't heal. It's what you do with the time that does. Feel that. Stop. Feel that. Take a moment with it. It's what we do with it. Okay? Moving through both the good times and the bad times intentionally. That's what I want you to do. Okay? So we built some resources. We've coped and grown through adversity. Now we're going to thrive through life. This is one of the most exciting things that gets me out of bed in the morning. Thriving through life. Okay? What does it mean for you to live a great story? Going back to that test that I took that I told you about earlier at the very, very top. I knew that I had to make some changes so that I was living an authentic, zestful life. So I started to do some planning and some digging, and I came up with this concept called the LEAF concept. You ready for this? In your life, in your career, in your relationships, in the things that are important to you, what do you want to learn? There's your L. What do you want to experience? There's your E. What do you want to accomplish? There's your A. And how do you want to feel? There's your F. LEAF. Learn, experience, accomplish, and feel. Have you thought about what you want to accomplish before you leave your career? Have you thought about that? Or are you just floating through? Are you just getting to work and putting out fires all day long? And I know that you have to because, oh my God, corrections is understaffed, we're underpaid, all of this other stuff. I get that. But as leaders, both formal and informal, are you spending time on what is important in your organization? Because we can spend all day on the urgent. But are you thinking about the mission, the vision, how to build resources, how to help your people build resources within your organization so they are more resilient, making your organization more resilient? That's what's important. What are you doing every day to make sure that gets done? I want you to think about this, and on your way home or when you get home, tonight in the hotel, whatever. I want you to write that down. In your life, in your work, in your relationships, what do you want to learn? experience, accomplish, and feel. Because if you don't know where you're going, folks, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. Feel that. Got to make a plan. Got to make a plan. So here's some ideas. What do you want to learn? Take a look. Is there anything up there that strikes your fancy? Dream a little bit. Let's have fun with this. Be intentional. What do you want to experience? Anything there? Anything there stick out? How many people in here have tasted a cloud? I know, again with the gummies. I get it. Okay. There it was. I was up on top of a mountain in Olympic National Park in Washington State. Beautiful, right? I'd driven up. It'd take me a long time to get up there because somebody told me that there was this incredible view from this place, and it was on a logging road, and I was driving that rental like a rental to get up there. I get up there, and you know what? It was cloudy. I was mad. I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself. And all of a sudden, I look over. Here comes this cloud, not fog, it's a cloud. And I was like, that cloud's going to hit me. That's cool. Right? Hits me. Kind of a little moist, right? It's kind of a little like it cooled off a little bit. And then I was like, actually, it has a taste. It's kind of an ionized taste, kind of a weird thing. And now, when I see low-hanging clouds, I'm doing everything I can to get up there, and I'm like Ms. Pac-Man when I see I'm like, num, 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 right? It's just absolutely amazing, right? Wake your brain up. What do you want to experience? And then set your life up where you can actually do that. What do you want to accomplish? Got anything up here? Dream. Dream. Take a deep breath and let's plan this. Let's plan this life. Moving through it intentionally. And then how do you want to feel? I talked about this earlier, and I will tell you that most of us don't think about this. But because I have this intentionality that I want to find something that brings me awe or make me curious every single day, I seek out opportunities for that to happen. Okay? Awe and curiosity. What do you want to feel? Being intentional. Now, let me tell you something. It is really easy to feel awe and curiosity in the grand moments of life, right? The sunrise right there. That was on top of Cadillac Mountain in Acadia National Park in Maine. This is the first place in the United States that the sun hits this great country of ours. And I was up there with 200 of my probably newest, closest friends. And we watched the sunrise together, and it was spectacular. It's easy to feel awe in that moment. It's easy to feel awe when you're sitting in a Zodiac boat about 100 yards away from a grizzly bear, and it looks up and it looks into your eyes, and it's like looks into your soul. Wonders how you're going to taste in a few minutes, right? It's easy to feel awe in those moments. It's easy to feel awe when you're in Patagonia and you're battling 60, 70-mile-an-hour winds because it's just epic down there. Right? It's easy to feel awe when you're standing at the base of the world's largest tree in Kings Canyon National Park in California during an epic snowstorm. But you know that walk that I told you about earlier? There's 2 horses on that walk. I don't know their real names. I call them Lumpy and Blue Eyes. This is Blue Eyes. And one day I took a picture, and then when I got back to my house, I was looking through the pictures, and I was like, oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Half of his eyelashes are red, and the other is white. How amazing is that? Right? You can find awe in those little moments as well. Okay? So what does joy feel like? Can you not, I mean, you got to smile when you see a dog stick its head out the window going down the road, right? I mean, that's just pure joy. Ah, maybe that perfect slice of cheesecake which, by the way, I had last night. Oof, that was good. Sharing a genuine smile with a complete stranger does something for you, does something for them. Wakes their brain up, wakes your brain up. What about awe? Maybe it's a wave crashing into the shore. Maybe it's the Northern Lights. How many people have seen the Northern Lights in here? Okay. Inuit people believe that it's the souls of those yet to be born playing with those who have already passed. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. What does grief feel like? We got to feel that too. If you don't feel those emotions, you're not going to feel the highs either, right? You're just going to live life just like that. I want you to feel all of the emotions. Grief, somebody explained grief to me as just the unexpressed love that you're not going to be able to give to that person or to that pet or to that thing or to that activity, whatever it is. That is what grief is, just unexpressed love. Got to feel that too. I want you to live your life intentionally. I want you to first understand your mission, develop your plan, set some intentions, and then learn to trust yourself. Watch this. What does it mean for you to live a great story? I hope you've done a little dreaming this morning. I hope you've made an intention to sit down and write some things out so you start reaching those goals and living life intentionally and not just floating through it. Then I need you to develop that plan, right? What do you want to learn, experience, accomplish, and feel in your life, at work, in relationships, and be the example for other people to truly live their life and get everything they can out of it, and make sure that you do the same thing. And I want you to set some intentions, right? It takes money to travel. That's my passion. I got to set some intentions. I can't go out and just blow money on stupid stuff. I got to save to do that travel. And then I want you to learn to trust yourself. Here's the thing. Do you trust yourself? And the way that I know that you can trust yourself, the way that I know that I can trust myself, is do you keep promises you make to yourself? I know you move heaven and earth to keep promises you make to other people, but I want you to start keeping promises to yourself. And when you do that, that's when you learn to trust yourself. Here's the thing, if you live to be 100 years old, you are going to only live 36,500 days. And you know what? When I put this up and I did the math, I was like, this has got to be wrong. There's got to be more days in my life than that. That's less than 1 million hours, folks. Not even close to 1 million hours. How are you spending your time? Are you floating through? Is it a rinse and repeat life? Is that what you are? Is that what you are modeling for those people that work for you, that work with you, that live with you, that go to church with you, that go to the grocery store with you? You ever been at the grocery store? You're in a hurry? Got the cart up on 2 wheels because you're going around the corner so fast, right? And somebody almost runs into you and everybody starts apologizing for everything. I don't do that. You know what I do? I look at them, get a real serious look on my face and go, it's okay. We're all in this together. And then as I wheel away, I hear them giggling. Like, somebody needs to get some help for that woman. Okay. It's okay. I just had gummies. It's all right. Okay. So going back to the zest, right? My word. What's your word? How are you going to live your life so when people look at you, that's how they describe you? That's how they describe you. How are you going to do that? Don't float through life. Let's live it. Let's live it. It'll make you happier and healthier. So, for those of you that like to travel, I thought I'd give you a little inspiration. Ready? Here's some pictures that I've taken on my travels. This picture holds a really important part in my life because when I was a young kid, my mom and dad never got to see this, but they had a painting up in our living room of this very, very scene. And it was a goal of mine to actually take a picture of it. And I got to do that a few years ago. Okay? What are your dreams? What are your hopes? Let's start living lives and get out of that rinse and repeat life. Okay? You deserve, of all of the people in this world, the helpers. Of all of the people in this world, the helpers deserve to live a great story because we give and we give and then we give some more. In fact, a friend of mine told me about her daughter. Said that her daughter one day was running on empty and somebody called and needed to chat with her to perk them up. And she said, "Mom, I was scraping the sides of my cup trying to find something to give to them." And we've all been there. The helpers in this world deserve to live a great story. So here's what I want you to do. I just want you to just do it. Just do it. Okay? One day you're going to wake up and there won't be any more time to do the things that you've always wanted to do. Do them now. Set some intentions and let's make this happen. And please live a great story. Thank you.